Well, the AI bubble is going to burst faster than we thought, everybody. Great! Nvidia's $100 billion deal with OpenAI has seemingly vanished. Yes, everybody. So Nvidia's president, or CEO, Huang, he's dismissing fears. He's doing damage control, telling all these reporters and everything, being like, no, that's unprecedented. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing the deal. And then also saying things like, he's dismissing fears that AI will replace software tools as stock sell-off deepens. But let's not worry about that right now. Let's worry about what just happened in the last 48 hours. Two AI giants shake market confidence after investment fails to materialize. In September 2025, Nvidia and OpenAI announced a letter of intent for Nvidia to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI's AI infrastructure. Hey, that was almost as much as... Actually, that was more than what Ubisoft was bought for. At the time, the company said they expected to finalize details in the coming weeks. 5 months later, no deal has closed. Nvidia CEO now says the $100 billion figure was never a commitment. It was never a commitment. It was only in talks. And Reuters reports that OpenAI has been quietly seeking alternatives to Nvidia chips since last year. Oh, okay, so they were just looking for a replacement on their chips in the first place. This is off of Ars Technica, by the way. So what happened to the $100 billion deal? The September announcement described a wildly ambitious plan. 10 gigawatts of Nvidia's systems for OpenAI, requiring power output equal to roughly 10 nuclear reactors. Is that real? That can't be real. That's real? Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang told CNBC at the time that the project would match Nvidia's total GPU shipments for the year. This is a giant project, Huang said. So in terms of Nvidia's GPU shipments, yeah, they do say that they're still trying to support the 5070 Ti and the 5060 and all that, but there has been evidence to the contrary, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. In terms of RAM shipments, though, people like Samsung, Hynix, and Micron are kind of freaking out. We'll talk about that in a second. But the deal was always a letter of intent, not a binding contract. Okay, fair enough. And in recent weeks, Huang has been walking back the number. On Saturday, he told reporters in Taiwan that the $100 billion deal was never a commitment. He said OpenAI had invited Nvidia to invest up to that amount and that Nvidia would invest one step at a time. Okay, fine. We're going to make a huge investment in OpenAI, Huang said. Sam is closing the round, and we will absolutely be involved. We will invest a great deal of money, probably the largest investment we've ever made. But when asked if it would be $100 billion, Huang replied, no, nothing like that. No. A Wall Street Journal report on Friday said Nvidia insiders had expressed doubts about the transaction and that Huang had privately criticized what he described as a lack of discipline in OpenAI's business approach. The journal also reported that Huang had expressed concern about the competition OpenAI faces from Google and Anthropic. Huang called those claims nonsense. Nvidia shares fell about 1.1% on Monday following the reports. Sarah Kunst, managing director of Clio Capital, told CNBC that the back and forth was unusual. One of the things I did notice about Jensen Huang is that there wasn't a strong, it will be $100 billion. It was. It will be big. It will be our biggest investment ever. So it was never guaranteed. It was probably just a rumor, I guess. I don't know. They should have tried to be a little transparent. Isn't this supposed to still be a gaming company? They've already announced that they're an AI company. They've stopped being a hardware manufacturer, hardware, gamers first. I don't know if they actually said we're no longer supporting gamers first, but Nvidia has always been a gaming company, in my opinion, at least. And so I do think there are some question marks there. In September, Brian Talkington, that's a last name, managing partner at Requisite Capital Management, noted the circular nature of such investments to CNBC. Nvidia invests $100 billion to OpenAI, which then OpenAI turns back and gives back to Nvidia, Talkington said. I feel like this is going to be very virtuous for Jensen. I guess? Tech critic Ed Zertron has been critical of Nvidia's circular investments for some time, which touch dozens of tech companies. Yes, it does. They affect a lot of companies. They make strides, I'll give them that. including major players and startups. They are also all Nvidia customers. Yep. Nvidia seeds companies and gives them the guaranteed contracts necessary to raise debt to buy GPUs from Nvidia, Zitron wrote on Blue Sky last September. Even though these companies are horribly unprofitable and will eventually die from lack of real demand. Wait, so they raise companies that they know will probably die off quickly? Is that why there can just no longer be any smaller tech companies at this point? Because everything has just kind of consolidated? Radio Shack is gone! I miss Radio Shack. Whatever. Okay, chips from other places. Outside of sourcing GPUs from Nvidia, OpenAI has reportedly discussed working with startups Cerebras and Grok with a Q, both of which build chips designed to reduce inference latency. That's right, I did read, I think on a video earlier, that they were investing into Grok with a Q. But in December, Nvidia struck a $20 billion licensing deal with Grok. Ah, okay, there you go, there it is. Which Reuters sources say ended OpenAI's talks with Grok. Nvidia hired Grok's founder and CEO Jonathan Ross, along with other senior leaders, as part of the arrangement. In January, OpenAI announced a $10 billion deal with Cerebras instead, adding 750 megawatts of computing capacity for faster inference through 2028. So, okay, you get the idea. They're now just talking about what OpenAI is investing into instead of Nvidia investing into OpenAI, blah, blah, blah. I get it, I understand. Okay, so yeah, Nvidia investing very heavily into AI seems to be taking a very different turn. Doing damage control, telling people, oh, he's dismissing fears that AI will replace software tools as stock sell-off deepens. Let's read a little bit about this. Jensen Huang dismissed fears that artificial intelligence will replace software and related tools, calling the idea illogical after a significant sell-off in global software stocks on Tuesday. The sell-off, partly sparked by AI developer Anthropic's updated chatbot release last week that heightened fears of AI-driven disruption in the data and professional services industry, broadened on Wednesday, hitting software stocks in India, Japan, and China. Huang said worries that AI will make software companies less relevant are misguided, and AI will continue to rely on existing software rather than rebuild basic tools from scratch. So they're going to other tech companies are going to attempt to just train AI off of their own existing software to make it better? How much investment does that need? I guess to make the AI more robust. Okay. It's no $100 billion, I'll give you that, but yeah, okay. So there's still a need of software programmers, chat, learn how to code. There's this notion that the tool in the software industry is in decline and will be replaced by AI. It is the most illogical thing in the world, and time will prove itself, Huang said. If you were a human or robot, artificial general robotics, would you use tools or reinvent tools? The answer obviously is to use tools. That's why the latest breakthroughs in AI are about tool use, because the tools are designed to be explicit. So this is just another Photoshop conversation about, oh, Photoshop is going to kill photography. I don't really need to read the rest of this. He's basically just trying to assuage people's fears, which is kind of funny because I got this link from them. Hold on. Yeah, Coinvo. There's a comment on there that I want to talk about. Bro just called all his investors dumb for spreading anxiety. And he said he didn't want his engineers to code. That's where I'm pulling from. I think that he did say that at some point. AI replacing software? That's like electricity replacing appliances. It changes everything, but you still need the tools. Didn't he used to say that it would? I feel like he did. Well, so talking about RAM costs and its development and where it's all going. Hi, Samsung, SK, Hynix, and Micron team up to block memory hoarding. Prices might rise faster, which I guess is supposed to be good news, but it could help encourage increased supply long term. This is off of Tom's Hardware. In an impressive display of solidarity in one of the most hotly competitive and profitable tech industries, the three major memory makers are jointly investigating their customers to prevent memory hoarding, according to Nikkei Asia. They're asking customers to disclose their own customers, so like they're the people that are buying their stock in order to sell to customers, and order volumes to ensure that no one is hoarding more memory than they need, exacerbating memory supply problems. The immediate impact of this may well be to accelerate price increases for consumer devices. After all, if a company can't buy cheaper memory now, it could be more expensive to buy it later. True, but this may help give memory makers the confidence they need to effectively invest in increased production, and it might just give smaller customers a chance to compete fairly. Since memory demand skyrocketed in 2025, memory makers have been inundated with calls to increase supply while brands panic bought what was available. Ramping up production lines and retooling fabs is required, but it's not that easy. NAND flash, particularly the newest and most capable chips, uses cutting-edge facilities, and those manufacturing lines take years to bring online. Production can and is being increased, but the required investment for such an endeavor is enormous. Though the potential upsides are excellent, increased supply should mean the memory makers can sell more in turn. The potential downsides are there too. Most notably, if supply and demand equalize, any industry changes could swing the ratio in the other direction, leaving the memory companies oversupplied and competing with each other to sell what they have. This isn't some theorized scenario either, it's already happened, which is why the companies are twice shy about increasing production. I'm just gonna stop here. You can read the rest. Here's what this means. These guys don't actually know where the orders are coming from. They know that their entire production line from 2025 through 2026 has been bought, but they don't exactly know who bought it. They don't know if they're going to be paid after they make the RAM and give it to the distributors that bought it from them. They just know it was bought. So, they're panicking. They're panicking. That's so funny. They're literally panicking. So these companies are freaking out. Nvidia's freaking out for different reasons. But yeah, so they don't really know what's going to happen if they manufacture all this RAM. So they're double checking to make sure that there is demand. So they don't end up with too much stock with a very high price on said stock. No one can afford it, and it basically just tanks itself right into the wall. So I'm going to leave you with this. This is pretty funny. This is off of Hardware 360. The RAM's memory supply chain situation is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Turns out that all the RAM production for 2025-2026 is already sold out. This is the information I was pulling from that basically said that. But the manufacturers have no idea who actually bought it, and they're starting to get really nervous because they don't know if someone is actually going to pay for it. Who bought the RAM? Where did the demand come from? Who bought the RAM? I'm assuming it's all the tech companies that are pushing AI development, right? But the AI development might crash soon, at least from Nvidia's side, which is a major player in the tech industry. It's starting to look like a certain company promised to buy a good chunk of global production to torpedo its rivals, but with no real intention of actually buying it once it's manufactured. And now the manufacturers are panicking because they might have to eat all the stock. Yep. Oops, sorry. Last but not least, you three companies agreed to giving 40% of your yearly DRAM wafer production to Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. In the first place, you refused to ramp up production for the rest of the market, true. And you, Micron, killed your crucial brand just for Sam, also true. You three are the reason there's a memory crunch. I'll let you make your own judgments on that. But, oh boy, things are changing. And will continue to change for the next month. I think we're going to see the beginning of the end here soon. That's my opinion, at least, but let me know what you think. This is ZeroEchoZenith signing off. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next time. Hopefully you can, soon enough, be able to afford your own GPU, CPU, and RAM on your home desktop. Oh, no. Good night, everybody.